I have a question for you. How many times has it happened to you? You just left your car to go run some errands, and yet all of a sudden you forgot your purse. Now I got a question for the person being a bystander. What would you do if you saw someone smash into a window taking a purse or whatever? What would you do? Would you stand there and let it happen? Would you confront that person? Or would you call 911? Would you call 911 and report this to the police? Or wait until the person got back from errands or whatever? It happens every day at stores and everywhere. It's called smash and grab, and as you'll see, thieves can steal from stuff in your truck. So the advice I have is take it with you and lock it and have protective windows. So here's Lisa Guerrero.
It happens in a flash. Brazen thieves busting out car windows, stealing anything they can carry. Sometimes even the car itself. Police data shows that over 10,000 cars were stolen in the city in the past year. That's an average of 27 cars stolen every day. Megan Tapley should know. How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times.
Your car was stolen 5 times.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We decided to put this truck out as bait and leave some tempting items inside. In this $300 speaker, we're going to hide another GPS tracker and place this Apple AirTag tracker in this high-end purse. We paid $20 to park our pickup in this gas station lot in downtown Portland. But what the would-be thieves don't know is that I'm watching the scene below from the 6th floor of this swanky hotel. We've got 2 cameras set up. Also below, more cameras. Now watch as this guy starts scoping out the truck. On the street corner, he procures a special tool called a glass puncher from his sidekick. Then he strikes.
It's happening. It's happening.
But the passenger window doesn't break.
He's hit it like 8 times. It's not breaking.
Undeterred, he comes back for a second try, and boy, is he persistent.
It's chipping now. It's chipping.
He hammers away at the truck's window 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 times altogether until the glass finally breaks. But he still can't get to our purse inside, so he smashes away with his elbow.
Broad daylight. No one's doing anything.
At last, using his bare hands, he rips the purse out
Okay, he's got the purse.
and calmly strolls off with his accomplice. So here's the GPS for the AirTag. Okay, the signal says our purse should be here. The GPS leads us to this apartment building, but there's no sign of him or the purse for now. But look who we do spot milling around out front, the smash and grabber's accomplice. Did you happen to see a pink bag in a car, a white truck? We saw you on camera. Where's your friend?
He took off.
Do you typically steal stuff out of people's trucks?
I'm not going to answer that.
As for our truck, wow, look what happened to our truck's window. That guy was committed to getting into the truck and stealing that purse. We never got our purse back. Now that you've been the victim of this kind of crime 5 times, what's the solution?
I would recommend getting a kill switch installed or an alarm system.
Exactly. Now what else can you do? Like what they say, lock your cars. If a thief smashes your windows, you need to immediately go to that area, call the police, and they will take care of it. Now, I never got my stuff stolen, thank goodness, except for my harmonica, which I can get replaced. I mean, it's replaceable, but I know it all costs money. Now here's another smash and grab from 4 years ago.
People remember ads with repetition. Bundle and save with Liberty. It's a problem all over the country. Thieves smashing vehicle windows to steal what's inside. But is there a way to keep from becoming a victim? Lisa Guerrero reports.
And also another thing. If the police ask for the vehicle thing ID or whatever, just give it to them. If they ask you questions, just politely answer them. And make sure you take a picture of the thief, so that way it'll be easier for the police to do a sketch. If they say, well, can you describe what the thief looks like? Just say, well, I have a picture of him on my phone. And you're like, that's great. And they'll be like, okay, this and this. And it'll make it easier. Okay, coming up next, more on these smash and grab thieves. Then, do you know what types of foods are in the restaurant, like fish? Do you know if you're being served burgers from the right stuff? Stay with us. Up front tonight, smash and grab. It happens every day when you don't least expect it. And as we've shown you earlier in this broadcast, it happens every day. So now we're going to tell you how Inside Edition helped grab those thieves. So once again, here's Lisa Guerrero.
They're called smash and grabs. Burglars busting out car windows, grabbing anything left inside. We wanted to see just how bad this nationwide problem is. So we're using this $250 speaker as bait. And what the thieves don't know is that we're going to be hiding this GPS device inside of it. Our other piece of bait is this Michael Kors purse. We're going to put our tracking device deep inside. And for our last trick, we rigged this car with hidden cameras. There's one here, one back there, and one right here. Then I drove up and parked our bait car at the renowned Alamo Square Park in San Francisco, where tourists flock to take pictures of the famous Painted Ladies Victorian homes. It's a notorious hotspot for thieves. All right, these two are checking out the car. Watch as these Bonnie and Clyde wannabes stroll up and peer inside our car. They wait here for the sidewalk to clear. Then the thief throws up his hood and he tries to bust out the front window with the glass puncher, but it doesn't break. So he goes for the back window, and
There it goes, it just broke in.
first he grabs the purse and tosses it to his female accomplice.
He's got the purse.
Take another look from this nearby surveillance camera, but he's not done yet. He reaches back in and struggles to pull out our big speaker.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
And just like that, he walks off with it in broad daylight. Wow, look at this. There's glass everywhere. Time to activate our GPS unit. We're in hot pursuit on the streets of San Francisco, following our stolen items through an app on our phone. Our GPS shows they hopped on this local bus. We took off after them when they got off at a bus stop. The chase is on. He went down there. We finally catch up to them at this subway entrance.
I'm Lisa Guerrero with Inside Edition. You've got my speaker right there. You just broke into our car.
What?
We've got it on camera. You're going to want to give that back.
We follow him as he retreats into the subway.
5 million people are going to see you steal that. So you can choose to give it back or not.
He refuses to give it back.
Stop recording. You know what? I'm just gonna call my mother.
You should call your mother. That is an awesome idea. Can I talk to your mom?
He leaves it on the ground and walks off.
We got our speaker back. Now we have to find the girl.
You may have noticed she fled the opposite way when we first caught up to them. Back up on the gritty streets, we hone in on the GPS signal.
The purse is in this area. Here it is. Purse is in the trash can. And the GPS system is still in it.
This gentleman, who lives in the area and didn't want to be identified, showed us how his nearby security cameras captured our theft.
It all lasted maybe 20 seconds.
And you see this every day.
Every day.
Amazing. While we were in his home, his cameras caught another break-in. Hey, wait a second. That car looks familiar. It's our crew car. Unbelievably, when we were inside conducting the interview, thieves came out here and they broke into our crew truck. Check this out. They broke this window and the back window, and they stole thousands of dollars worth of our equipment, so we actually got hit twice in one day.
Last year, the city of San Francisco experienced 31,000 smash and grab thefts. Less than 2% of them were solved. Insurance experts say it's impossible to 100% prevent smash and grabs, but they recommend taking your valuables with you or hiding them in the trunk.
Exactly. The biggest mistake that people make is not hiding them in the trunk. So if you want to protect your valuables, like if you want to protect your game consoles, your gift for Christmas, let's do a favor and hide them in the trunk. That way it won't be stolen. I recommend you get those. Do not get those minivans to where the back window breaks. No. Get a regular sized car with a trunk. That way your stuff can be safe. And what about the laws in Texas? Well, just a year ago, Governor Greg Abbott signed SB 516 into law that enhances the punishment for criminals preparing. That's the penal code. Chapter 29, Section 29.1, robbery. A person commits small offense in the course of committing a theft defined in Chapter 31 is intent to retain, maintain control of property. This and this. Aggravated robbery. Commits the offense. So, yeah, just protect your stuff. You may have seen bikes being stolen from one of your areas. Well, up next, we're gonna show you a kingpin of the bike thieves and how these people got arrested for stealing these bikes. It's a Lisa Guerrero half hour you will not be able to miss. Stay with us. Now for an update on Oxford. The judge rules not to limit which Oxford students get info into the school shooting case. I think any student or teacher who was in that building is a victim. The judge determined on Tuesday not to sanction the prosecution's conduct, but did retaliate what was previously stated in court. I mean, this is the regarding motion from this is a 2-page thing. This was motion on registered videos on September 15th of almost a month ago. About a month ago. Uvalde. Just yesterday, a Uvalde teen was arrested for a shooting threat 5 months after the massacre. It was a 16-year-old juvenile. A teenager was arrested in Uvalde, Texas, in connection to a threat that allegedly made to carry out a shooting in Uvalde High School, the school district said. Uvalde School District sent an email to the faculty and parents Tuesday morning stating the individual made a threat via social media, which was reported on the bullying prevention app Stop It. The threat came just shy of 5 months after the school shooting at the district's Robb Elementary, which resulted in 5 deaths and 19 students. The Texas Department of Police declined to comment, but instead referred ABC News back to UPD. So, that's a threat. Now there's a law saying that parents, now that the DNA thing, helping protect your family, it's not mandatory, it's a requirement. You're voluntary, you can voluntarily do it. So I'm glad there's something happening. Up next, you're going to meet the bicycle thief kingpin who steals bicycles. Lisa Guerrero has that. Then, do you know what foods you're getting? Is it fish or just burgers? Stay with us. How many times has it happened to you? You lock your bike, or you don't lock your bike. You go to a coffee shop, go get some coffee or whatever, you go to Walmart or something, and all of a sudden your bike's gone. What if you realized that your bike was being stolen? That's what happens every day in America. Every day here in this country, over 100 million bikes have been stolen by bike thieves. You're about to witness something that I've rarely seen and talk about. The bicycle thief kingpin. Lots of thieves steal bikes, but is this kingpin ready to confess? Once again, here's Lisa Guerrero.
More and more Americans are taking to the streets on bicycles. And nowhere is that more apparent than in Portland, Oregon, often called Biketown, USA. But with all those bikes comes a major problem. Bike thieves.
I personally think that bike theft is an epidemic.
Scott Baker is a service manager at Bike Gallery, a popular bike shop.
Every single day I'm at work, I see something come through the door that's been stolen.
It's gotten so bad, the store has posted these police photos, a gallery of suspected bike thieves for employees to be on the lookout for. So how common is bike thievery? Bike Gallery loaned us this expensive mountain bike worth $2,000. Next, we hired security expert Jason Cecchetini from baitbike.com. He's skilled at planting radio tracking devices in bikes in places you'd never expect. Downtown Portland was the perfect location for our bait bike. The high-end bike sure did get a lot of attention. Keep your eyes on this dude. What's that he's holding close to his body? It's a bolt cutter. But he may be the world's most incompetent bicycle thief. He can't get through the lock and wanders off in frustration. Not too long after that came the guy in the hoodie. He sure looks like he's checking things out. He thinks the coast is clear. He casually approaches the bike, and just like that, he clips the bike lock, and in a matter of moments, he's pedaling away.
He's got a backpack and a hoodie on.
It happened so quickly. Let's see that again. Those are wire cutters. Little does he know, the radio tracking device is monitoring his every move.
He's currently right here.
The chase is on through the streets of downtown Portland. It's time to let the cops know what's going on.
Somebody just stole our bike.
The thief goes over the steel bridge, and we're right behind on the other side of the Willamette River. That's where we get out to follow the signal on foot.
The GPS says it's about a quarter mile that way.
He may have sold it to somebody who's under the bridge right now taking it apart.
That's entirely likely.
As we get closer, the signal gets stronger.
So my estimation is that the bike is about 200 yards ahead of us.
We have to hop over a fence and find ourselves under Highway 5. Not a pleasant place to be. Then, pay dirt. It's a homeless camp. Bicycle parts are strewn all over. It looks like a chop shop.
What appears to be a lot of stolen bikes here.
Luckily, the police get there just in time.
There's our bike.
There it is.
As you can see, they've already started to take it apart.
Wow, that didn't take long.
Where did you get that bike?
No sign of the guy who stole the bike. I guess he sold it minutes earlier and took off.
Where did you get that bike?
I didn't get that bike. It's not my bike.
I know it's my bike.
Look what the cops find on him.
Where'd you get that one?
Smartphones and electronics.
Here's a brand new camera.
Check out all the bike tools.
Why do you need so many tools?
He's busted, and you won't believe who he is. Remember the photos posted at the bike shop? Look at the guy on the left. That's him. He's actually known as the kingpin of thieves.
Is he kind of a kingpin of bike theft here in Portland?
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Absolutely.
His name is Leroy Parsons, and he has an incredibly long rap sheet. Look at all these mugshots, one after another. Over 70 of them in total for a variety of charges, including bike theft, burglary, and drugs. The police bike task force have been trying to put Parsons behind bars for a long time.
Are you glad he caught him today?
Very glad. Yes.
There's our bike.
Cops have charged Parsons with theft by receiving stolen property. That is a felony. He has pled not guilty.
So what can you do to protect yourself from bike thieves? Well, the best way to do that, you can put a tracker on the bike and make sure you know where your bike is. That's a good sign. Lock your bike. That's the important key here. Use a U-lock. Lock your wheel and frame together. Use a bike rack. Sign poles as not as secure. When possible, do not park your bike on the sidewalk or street overnight. Lock your bike in a well-lit and well-traveled area. Take lights and other easily removed items for you. Write down your serial number. It's also very helpful to have a picture of your bicycle and, if possible, the original sales receipt. Keep those with you at all times. The picture of your bike and the receipt. Leave it someplace where you won't find it. If you get it hiding in your dresser drawer, always remember where it is. If you're hiding in your wallet, I would not recommend you hiding in your wallet because your wallet can be stolen. And your wallet gets stolen and that receipt gets stolen, make sure you have a copy. Take a picture of that. Take a copy picture of that receipt. If your bike gets stolen, immediately notify law enforcement. Conduct your own search for the bike. Bring a photo of the bike and make the rounds of the pawn shops. You should also make the rounds of your bike shops in your area. Finally, check the police inbound yard line from time to time. Your bike went up there. And if you do find your bike, notify law enforcement for resistance in recovering your bike. If they recover your bike, they should notify you. That's from Portland, Oregon. You can do the same thing in Texas. Just tell them this. Now, how do you know if you're getting scallops or the right type of fish? Are your restaurants serving fake scallops? Or are they serving real goat? Or how about Parmesan cheese? That story when we return. Are you being served fake scallops? Or just some goat? Or pre-grated Parmesan cheese? I know you're hungry thinking about this one, but take a look at this.
Inflation raging, everybody's watching their budget. And if you do go out to eat, you want to get what you're paying for, especially when it's something expensive like scallops. As Lisa Guerrero found out, you might not. And sometimes it's actually hard to tell what you're being served.
Scallops, they're delicious.
Oh my gosh, so good.
So you'd think if you order scallops, you'd get just that, scallops, right? Not always. My team and I are about to go on an ordering spree for scallops. We gathered samples of scallops from restaurants across the USA. Here at Fish House, a popular fish market in New York City, scallops are on prominent display. We ordered fried scallops. Then we sent them to Applied Food Technologies in Florida, where Molly Sims and her colleagues specialize in seafood DNA analysis. Guess what? The lab found there wasn't any scallop in the scallop.
We were certainly surprised to see such a blatantly
false scallop.
So what is it?
My best guess to what they were is probably some sort of surimi type product.
Surimi? What the heck is that?
That is the surimi fish paste. So it's a bunch of goo that's shaped like a scallop to fool you.
Is this fish goo?
Fish goo.
Dr. David Friedman, an expert on seafood and the author of Food Sanity, says of all the creatures in the sea, scallops are the most frequently substituted.
It's very common.
He says unlike natural scallops, surimi is a less healthy paste, typically made up of cheap fish like pollock or whiting.
They shape it. They actually roll it in rolls like sushi, and then they slice it in these little hockey pucks. And then they try to fool you into believing that it's the genuine stuff.
We went back to Fish House. We ordered fried scallops here. We had it sent to a lab and discovered that what we were served wasn't scallops.
Yeah, they're imitation scallops.
Wouldn't you feel better if the menu said imitation scallops, so the customer actually knows what they're paying for?
Oh, then I would have to. Do you have any idea how many things are imitation?
That's why we're doing this investigation. Over at Angel Fish Market, also in the Big Apple, guess what?
It was not a scallop.
We tried to speak to a manager.
Are you serving fake scallops here?
She walked away. Later, she confirmed their fried scallops are imitation and that they would change the menu to reflect that. At this restaurant, the lab says these so-called scallops turned out to be made of something called spinefoot fish. They sure don't look anything like scallops.
So how do you know if you're getting the real deal if you're ordering scallops?
You can trust your eyes and your nose. So you want to visualize it. If you see that they're exactly the same size like hockey pucks, that's fake. It should be irregular. And the other thing that you want to do is the sniff test, because scallops have a sweet seaweed type of aroma. If it smells fishy, something's fishy going on. Literally, it is fake.
Oh my gosh, so good. The real deal.
Well, it wasn't all fishy business. Our scallops that we sampled in Dallas, Toledo, and in St. Louis turned out to be the real deal.
That's good. Now, how do you know if you're ordering lamb? I never had lamb, but Lisa Guerrero. You know, one day I could have her on, and one heck of a show, walk us through her greatest investigations.
Love lamb. We eat lamb for lunch, even waiting in long lines when necessary.
So this is a lamb platter, right?
It's a lamb platter, yes.
And we eat lamb for dinner at fine restaurants.
These are our standard lamb chops that we
But Chef Alexander Papetsis of Kalari Taverna in New York City has a warning. The wool is being pulled over your eyes more than you think.
Everybody kind of knows what a lamb chop is going to look like. But, you know, if you're going, let's say, to somewhere where they're serving gyros or, you know, lamb and rice or kind of those dishes where it's more shredded lamb, it's much easier to mask fake lamb, such as, you know, maybe using goat as a substitute.
You heard right. You might be eating goat.
So we wanted to know, if you order lamb, are you really getting lamb? To find out, we did some testing.
We ordered lamb at 39 restaurants in Los Angeles and New York City, from tourist hotspots to popular food trucks. The samples were packed up and sent to a lab for DNA testing.
The results were startling and disturbing. 23% of the so-called lamb we ordered wasn't lamb at all. So what was it? It was goat, chicken, and beef, all much cheaper than lamb. So I went back to those places where we ordered the lamb to find out what was going on.
It's much more than what I expected to get 23% of the time, you know. You order lamb and you get goat, for example. And it's not acceptable.
At this food truck in Manhattan, this is what we were served. It sure looks like lamb. Turns out there wasn't a speck of lamb in the dish. It's a grounded combo of chicken and beef.
No lamb was in your lamb platter. Can you explain why?
Maybe you guys got a combo platter? I'm not sure, guys.
We got lamb over rice, just like what you gave me just now.
Maybe it was a mistake?
You're not trying to pull a lamb scam.
No, we're not. We could have just messed up on your order.
Okay.
And at this trendy spot in Manhattan,
Can I have a serving of the lamb meatballs?
100% lamb meatballs were on the menu. Tests showed beef was mixed in.
I'm Lisa Guerrero with Inside Edition. I just ordered the lamb meatballs from you.
Yes. Hi.
So we ordered lamb meatballs a couple weeks ago, and we had them tested, and it ends up that it's lamb and beef, not just lamb.
No, just a lamb. 100% lamb.
No, because we actually had your meatballs tested, and there was also beef in the meatballs. So can you explain why?
There's no beef in it.
There was. We sent them to a lab.
You did? Well, I didn't know about that.
One tip from food expert Larry Olmsted is if you see lamb that looks like this, it's not always what you think.
So one of the biggest rules of the food fraud industry is the less recognizable it is to your eye, the more likely you are to be cheated.
Kinda makes you wanna scream.
Now, how about fish? How do you know if you're being served the right fish? You may be getting lobster or just fish. So once again, here's Lisa Guerrero.
Celebrity chef and author Rocco DiSpirito loves lobster.
Lobster roll, the iconic American dish, should be all lobster.
You'd think what he's saying should be obvious. You order lobster, you get lobster, right? Not always. We tried out lobster dishes of every conceivable kind at 28 restaurants around the country. It may shock you to learn that in 35% of our samples, instead of lobster, we found cheap fish substitutes. At Red Lobster, the largest seafood chain in America, we tested the lobster bisque from 3 locations and scooped out the meat. Then we sent it off to a lab.
We do look at it carefully, but then the final answer is done by DNA analysis.
According to the lab, the lobster
And the
in
results
one
of
sample
the
was
DNA test
actually
are,
Langostino.
you are
2
not
others had
the
a
fish.
combination of Langostino and lobster.
So what is Langostino? This is a Langostino, and it looks nothing like a lobster. As a matter of fact, it's more closely related to the hermit crab and costs about half as much as lobster does per pound.
At the world-famous Nathan's in Coney Island, Brooklyn, the lobster salad sandwich we tested came back as this guy, whiting, a much cheaper fish that certainly doesn't look like lobster. Rocco DiSpirito says restaurants are under pressure to keep costs down, but that's still no excuse.
If you say seafood roll, then it's okay that you put some of
But
this
you
in
would
there.
call it seafood roll.
Exactly.
Not lobster roll.
I would make the distinction, or you could say lobster and seafood roll. You definitely want your customers to know.
I'm Lisa Guerrero with Inside Edition.
At this restaurant called Get Hooked outside Tampa, the lobster in their lobster roll also came back as whiting.
Yes, people, I did not purposely rip the public off like
The owner says he makes his lobster rolls with a frozen mixture called Lobster Sensations that he buys from an outside vendor. It has lobster, but it's also filled with other cheaper fish like whiting and pollock.
The issue is, on the menu, it doesn't say that there's any other fish except lobster in your lobster roll.
Okay, if you want to get technical, yes, you're absolutely right.
Manhattan's Little Italy is the go-to neighborhood for great seafood, but we wondered what was in the lobster ravioli. At Sophia's, our lab found no lobster, just, are you ready for this? Cheese.
I'm Lisa Guerrero with Inside Edition.
I want to talk to you.
Guess he didn't want to talk to us about his lobster ravioli.
And what about Soup Man? That's the place made famous in the Seinfeld Soup Nazi episode.
No soup for you.
It's supposed to have the best soup in New York City. Guess what? Our test showed that the lobster bisque was loaded with the real thing, lobster.
No soup for you.
We spoke to actor Larry Thomas, who played the so-called soup Nazi.
Our soup can only be the best if we have the right real ingredients.
He's got that right.
Are you kidding me? That is so good.
Isn't it?
Nothing beats the real thing.
Now, Red Lobster told us their lobster bisque can contain meat from Maine lobster, Langostino lobster, or a combination of both. As for Nathan's, they told us the main ingredient in their lobster salad is, in fact, lobster, but that it does include a healthy mix of lobster, pollock, and whiting. Experts say DNA testing is the only way to know for sure if you're getting real lobster, but they say if your meal is priced too low, that could be a red flag.
So know what you're buying. How clean your soft serve ice cream machines? We're out of time, but I'm going to tell that to you on Friday. And when you're ordering Kobe beef, you could be getting something else instead. That's unfunny. Also tomorrow, we don't have any updates to Nicholas Cruz, so that's the only day I can do it for you. So, sorry I pulled a wool over your eyes. So, that's the only update we can give on Nicholas Cruz. But if there's any more updates on Nicholas Cruz, we'll keep you posted. So, with that in mind, that's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday. We will see you again for Give Me a Break Friday. And for all of us here at Give Me a Break and YouTube, stop bullying and speak up. And know what types of foods you're getting. Whether it's fish, lobster, or Kobe beef, or make sure your ice cream machine is clean. Good night, everyone.